Alright, so we are directly underneath the front end of our Honda Fit, and we have a very low profile 3-ton jack that we were able to slide underneath the front end because we have a Fit Sport that has the bumper kit. If you do not have a lift, you are going to need a very low profile jack with a very long handle, because you need to jack on the frame in the middle in order to bring the car up evenly on both sides so that you can put the car on jack stands. Before we jacked it up, we loosened the lug nuts on both sides, and we also chalked the rear wheel so that it would not roll on us as we were jacking it. So you'll see a chalk there on my rear tire for safety purposes. Now that the car is jacked up, we've put our jack stands in place on both sides, and we have the locking pin through them. So we're actually going to remove the jack so that we can use it to help us with the suspension.
Alright, hello Mom and Dad Meat World. So we are going to be doing the front shock strut assembly with the spring. Comes in a kit. You can buy this kit at your local dealership. You can go online like we did, but we just wanted to show you what we're going to do, how we are going to do it, what we did. We are not professional mechanics, but we would like to essentially save you a little bit of money. So as April gave you the explanation of what we had done to jack it up, we're going to right now start by setting it on the jack stand. So I've got the jack handle right here. I'm just going to slowly lower it. It's going to slowly lower onto our jack stand right now. So I am just I'm loosening it up very, very slowly. And right now we're distributing the weight from this jack to the jack stands as we speak right now. And eventually this is going to drop. We're going to tighten this back up to not let any air back in it. But okay, the car is ready to be worked on. We've already loosened up the lug nuts. We're going to remove the wheels and we're going to start.
Alright, so we are taking off the driver's side wheel, and we are going to remove a few pieces to get this shock and strut combo loose. So that piece right there that Dennis is pointing to is your wheel position speed sensor. So that's a clip. We're going to use a flathead to undo that. Then there is this right here, tie rod nut bolt combo. You'll use a 5mm Allen wrench and a 14mm nut combo to break that loose and pull that out. If it's tight, because it's been on there a long time, you might need to use some liquid wrench to help you just not have to reef forever. And then there's 2 large mounting brackets and bolts right here on the pass-through. This one actually holds the brake line in place also, so you want to be careful of your brake line and not damage your brake line. So let me grab my tools so you can see us pull those clips and such, and we'll get going. So we're going to get that speed position sensor clip loosened up. Dennis is pushing on the back of it. Let's push it forward a little bit. It's going to push in the front. You could use a pair of needle nose, or you could use a flathead. I prefer a flathead because I want to actually break it. Everybody has a preferred tool. So there you go. There's the clip. It's just a rivet clip right there that mounts in.
So the top one right here, we put the 5mm in the middle, gave it a good cinch down, and we're now just loosening this piece right here.
This bolt is fairly long with the tie rod arm.
We did put some liquid wrench on it. So we put this 5mm right here, this Allen head right here. We just put that in place. We got liquid wrench all over it. And with this right here, we're going to want to make sure, you see how this is an open-ended socket with a ratchet. Make sure this is on loosen and this is on tight. So now we're going to start. And it is quite tough.
Now that nut came off of there, just going to push it back through and move it out of the way. And now we're gonna start on these front two. All right, so we have a 3/4 inch wrench on the outer, and we have a 19 millimeter socket and extension on the inner to keep it from turning. Dennis is holding the wrench with his left hand while he pulls these two bolts. You do want to be a little bit careful of the brake line. That's the reason the extension is on the 19. Is specifically so that we're working away from that brake line right there. Wiggles it out. It's not threaded all the way through, it's just a little snug. So there's the bottom bolt. He's going to screw that together, set it aside. Now he's going to finish the top. And this is the one that has the brake mounting hardware on it. So you'll see when he pulls that aside that it just leans it out. When you do pull this this rotor and knuckle down, you want to be careful not to overextend it. You don't want to damage your CV axle, CV boot, end up with an extra job to do. So there's the top.
But we're going to keep it in place until
we get the, until we get the top one undone. And the top is right here. We're going to remove this dust cap. So hang on just a second. So Dennis is going to remove this dust cap right here that covers the top of the Allen bolt that keeps the debris out of it. That's all it is a little rubber grommet. So he's going to set that up top. And we are going to get a 6 millimeter Allen wrench and a 14 millimeter pass through, and it's going to be an actual Allen wrench this time because the room you have to work underneath here is pretty tight. So he's going to grab that 14 millimeter and that 6 millimeter, and we're going to get started. All right, so this is actually a 17 millimeter pass through on the top with our Husky ratcheting reversible wrench set we have. So you'll see Dennis getting it set to loosen. He's going to slide that over right there, and then he's going to put that Allen wrench right through there, and we're going to unscrew that or unmount that. It's been a wee little bit since this has been off the car, like never. Original equipment, so this is probably going to take a minute. Might even need a braking bar to break that loose. Do you want the cheater bar?
Yep. So after we had used braking bars, we had to take a braking bar coming this way and one holding this way. Now it is nice and loose.
Moral of the story, make sure you have something to give yourself good leverage to get these tools off, or these parts off. They can be a bit stuck on there, especially suspension parts.
And if you had completely undid all the bolts on the bottom, this will just drop, but we did not. I put that other bolt through just as a placeholder. So this doesn't just drop into place when this bolt is completely loose. You can tell we got a ways to go, but this is now doable by hand. I'm just gonna undo this.
All right. So when Dennis pulls that out, you're going to see that there is a metal washer right there, top of that grommet. It's dirty, so you can't even see it really well, but if you pull the grommet up, you're going to get new pieces of mounting hardware. See that washer? The washer gets reused, so keep your washer. Set that old piece aside. Now, Dennis is going to pull that last bolt back out that was already loose. It's just sitting in there. And he's gonna pull that shock spring combo right down and out. Just gonna shift that tire forward a little bit. And there you go. There is the old mounted shock spring combo. Make sure that this comes out with it, because your new one will have a new one of these you want to put on. So let's take a look at the new hardware. So this is the new assembly, all one piece. Take this off. This will go on top
With the washer.
when the washer gets put on top. So I'm gonna set that aside. Dennis is gonna run this up and through to me at the top, and I'm gonna put that piece on. It goes through, just so you guys can kind of have a little bit of visibility here. Right up there in the fender well. See that hole right there? So he's gonna slide that up and through. I'll get this top bolt and piece put on a little bit by hand, and then he'll start buttoning up the bottom. So it's up and through. This new piece just slides right over that. My washer. Hang tight for just a second and I'll get this hand threaded on there. Because this is a locking one, it's going to be a little snugger, but there we go. We got a few good threads on it, so now it's not going to drop and damage any of the brake lines or anything. And Dennis can assemble this all down here in the reverse order that we took it off. Alright, so now we're going to go down here and we're going to put the tie rod back in place. If you're having problems with getting the tie rod in, you could always jack up the bottom of the suspension spring a little bit, give yourself a little help. Dennis was able to push that through. Just gonna get the bolt on there, hand tight. All right, now he's gonna get these two bottom bolts here. And that has the brake hardware in it as well. Alright, so we paused because we dropped the bolt at the bottom. So we're getting those two bolts tightened up. We're also going to push that speed position sensor back into its clip. And once we get the bottom bolts tight, we're going to tighten up this tie rod, and then you'll tighten up the top, and you're going to be done for the day.
Actually, we're going to tighten up this tie rod right now, then we'll come back, tighten these up, and then come back and tighten the top up. So take a look at this. We've started it a little bit, put the 5mm on here, so we're going to put this right over top of that, slide the 5mm in, and so what you're going to want to make sure is this is on tighten, or this is on loosen, so it'll give you friction. It is quite hard, so just know that when you are doing this. This is a bit of a process. We'll come back towards the end. All right, for up here, when you do get this tightened, this is specifically 22 pound-feet of torque, although it seemed like it was much, much more than that, especially when removing it. You will definitely find out because this is quite a long throw on this bolt right here. And then for these guys right here, this is 76 pound-feet of torque. When you do that, or when you get your torque wrench on here, hold on one side, tighten with this side, and you'll get your torque wrench for 76 pound-feet of torque. Let's move on to the top. All right, up here, so it has already been hand started. And so what we're gonna do for right now is we're gonna take this is the 17, set it to tighten.
Got to get it down enough to be able to have room to actually put your Allen wrench in and let it grab.
You'll know it's working because that thread is disappearing from the bottom. Okay, I just inserted right down the middle, that's 6 millimeter.
And this one is 33 foot-pounds of torque, if you want the specifics.
All right, come back in here with your torque wrench, 33 pound-feet of torque. Put your cap back on when you are done, and then zip it up. We'll come back at the very end. All right, Mom and Dad New World, so here we are. This was it. We did our front shocks and struts. I don't know what it was, but it's the spring with the shock combo together. We did that right here on this car. So just a few things, few tips and tricks. Have patience. Maybe don't do it when it's winter time and it's 40 some odd degrees outside. And then make sure you've definitely got your 5 millimeter for the bottom and 6 millimeter for the top. For the 6 millimeter, you'll want that L-shaped type of Allen head. And then for the bottom, this will work just fine. And then pass-through wrenches. So 14 millimeter is what we use on the bottom. And then it'll also be a 17 millimeter up top for this. And then on the bottom also, we need a 19 millimeter or 19 millimeter socket ratchet, and then a 3/4 inch / 19 millimeter to hold the other bolt in place for those two big bolts that tie the wheel to the actual suspension. So this has been it. It is very, very doable, but what will fight you, other than your weather conditions, is also going to be the rust, which we did have a little bit of liquid wrench. But yeah, the liquid wrench helped quite a bit. So it is cold. We are done. If this video helped you out, you know what to do. Thumbs up, like, share, comment, subscribe. It all helps out our channel. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now. I'm freezing.